What sort of experience are you looking for? Because this is going to completely decide on the kind of nuts and bolts of your trip. How are you going to do it? Are you going in your own vehicle? Are you cycling? Are you walking? Are you going on public transport? Because each of those different experiences will be brilliant. One's not better or worse than the other, but they'll all be different. I had a guy, a client, really nice couple. They came. Long story short, they were going to take an electric car around the world. I said, why do you want to use an electric car? That was a brilliant idea. Why? And he said, well, he was a really nice guy. He said, when he first started to put it together, he didn't have his partner with him, his wife. And he said, I knew if I went in a fully kitted out Land Rover with all the bells and whistles and winches and roof tents and fridges and blah, blah, blah. He said, I knew they'd turn up in a place and I would then sit there in the restaurant and read my book, or I'd sit around my beautifully kitted out Land Rover, and I wouldn't actually go out and see anyone because I'm English and I'm reserved and I find it quite difficult to do that. The electric car has got a 100-mile range, he said. That's it. And he said, at that point, I'm then going to go and have to knock on someone's door, literally, with a plug and go, can I plug my car in, please? And that was his way of having a great experience. He knew that this car would give him the experience he was looking for. It would force him to do it. And I thought that was a great idea. This is really important when you're traveling. There is a logic. It just might not be the logic that you're used to. And India is a fantastic example of that. India is a totally chaotic cultural explosion of sound, smells, people, colour, no sense of personal space, billion people there, they all want to know where you're from, are you married, etc, etc, etc. Now, in India, you build a truck in one factory, and then you've got to get that truck to another factory to get it finished. Now, in the UK, you put it onto a low loader, and you take it down the M1, and then you take it off, and blah, blah, blah. But in India, you just get in and drive it. Now, if you saw that down the M1, you can imagine how far he would get. In India, no one bats an eyelid at that at all. It's a perfectly logical, cheap way of getting one vehicle from one place to another. So when it comes to road rules, when it comes to crossing a border, when it comes to checking into a hotel, whatever it is, you're going to find yourselves in situations going, this is ridiculous. Why on earth are they doing it like this? And you'll feel yourself getting frustrated and annoyed and, well, bloody hell, it would be so much more efficient if they could do it this way. There is a logic. It's just not the logic that you're used to. So when you find yourself getting frustrated, and I've been there many a time, you have to go, well, hang on a second. Okay, this might not be the way I do it, but actually this is the way they've been doing it for years for various reasons, and I'm going to have to go with that logic. So try and find the logic. It is in there somewhere. You're just not quite sure what it is. And you're going to have to put on a different mindset. Again, if you saw that going down the M4, he's not going to get very far. I think this was just Morocco. You know, we're on the edge of Europe here. Perfectly natural, normal thing to do. No one's going to bat an eyelid at that. All your Western, developed world preconceptions need to go out the window. You need to kind of start with a clean slate in terms of your mindset and everything that you're doing. And any time you find yourself getting stressed, I bet you most of it is because you are trying to apply your mindset to a different kind of area. This is the really, really important one. You know, it's such a cliche, but it's true. You're a guest in these countries. I've seen tourists doing horrific things, and for me to be there and you know, you immediately want to go and go, I'm not like them, I'm not like them. Diplomacy, tact, patience. Are you doing things the way they should be done? Are you culturally aware? You know, say Muslim areas, something like that. In fact, these kids, these are the karate kids. These are the ones that thought I was Chuck Norris. And so you're trying to bridge the gap between them thinking I'm Chuck Norris and me not knowing how to speak to them, etc., etc., etc. So diplomacy is really, really important. Everyone, you are an ambassador for your country, and you need to be really, really aware of that. Things will go wrong. This is why you travel. It's not if it goes wrong, it's when it goes wrong. Have a plan and then be ready to throw that plan out of the window. Here's me driving through India. Oh, this will be fine, no problem at all. I've got to get the group to wherever, I can't remember, Delhi or somewhere like that. They're all getting flights tonight. Oh, we're nearly there. This will be great. Come around the corner and see this. And this is not good. This is a road that's completely washed out. There's a massive flood and, you know, there's just chaos everywhere. And suddenly I'm going, but I've got to get to Delhi. You know, I've got to get these people to Delhi. And it's just, that's not going to work. You can't get angry. You can't start shouting. You then have to be able to throw that plan out the window and come up with another one. And I'm not talking about if, I'm talking about when it goes wrong, because it will go wrong. And don't forget, that's actually part of the reason that you're there. I'll talk more about that. But it's not going to go to plan, I absolutely guarantee. When stuff does go wrong, when you are driving through the Ecuadorian jungle and you come across this, that's full of fuel, and it's the only road that you can take, stop. If you, I was going to say have a cigarette, maybe not in this particular instance. That wouldn't be a good idea. But that moment of stopping, having a nice cup of tea, or going away and smoking a fag, having a think. Don't dive straight into what might be what you think is the initial immediate thing that I need to do. Actually, 10 minutes sitting, having a cup of tea, having a think. You get somewhere and I don't know, you've missed your bus, or the hotel is full, or you've got to this place and it's all gone wrong. So as we talked about, when it goes wrong, it will go wrong. Just take that 10 minutes to kind of go, all right, let me think about this. Has anyone read Jupiter's Travels, Ted Simon? Amazing book, I highly recommend it. He talks at the beginning of that, I think it's the opening chapter, about his bike breaking down. He's on a motorbike, rides around the world. And his bike breaks down and he kind of rolls under a tree in India, and he gets off the bike and there's obviously something really wrong with it. There's oil pissing out or something like that. And he says all he does is he gets off, and I think he sits down and lights a cigarette or something like that, and he said, I sat down and I waited because I knew it would all work out. And then the rest of the book goes on to tell you about how he ended up in India and how he ended up with that mindset, that he'd gone through all this stuff going wrong and trying to fix it. And realising, and it takes a while, that actually sometimes all you need to do is just stop and sit, and it'll work out. It will happen. You are going to be travelling through places where stuff goes wrong all the time. So there's an entire infrastructure built in already. Like tyres, people go on these big vehicle-based expeditions. They take 6 spare tyres with them because, what if we get a puncture and then we get another puncture? You go around the world, all the tyres are rubbish in most of the places. So there's an entire infrastructure there of a little man at the side of the road with a pump and a patch to fix rubbish tyres. So you're never going to have a problem fixing tyres wherever you go, because that infrastructure is already there. It's not like Quick Fit here where there's one between each town. There, that infrastructure for stuff going wrong is already in place because it goes wrong all the time.